Every day, politicians get more and more out of control, but when will they learn that we are not putting up with it anymore? I guess they're going to have to learn the hard way. For those of you who do not know, our rights are given by God, not people. Definitely not these insane, tyrannical, left wing political hacks that call themselves politicians. Instead, God gave us our whole world, and with that, He gave us rights. And we can enjoy this country with those said rights. Many people take that for granted and forfeit not only their rights, but trample on other people's rights in the meantime. If you do not like having rights, visit China for a couple of days and you will see the horror. When you come back, you will feel great to be part of a country that respects its people for the most part, unless people talk bad about the government with no pushback whatsoever. With me representing our God-given amendments, there are always going to be people who think the opposite. And those people are the ones I'm talking about. There are 27 amendments, with the first 10 introduced in 1971. Our right to a religion, speech, assembly, and petition to bear arms against unjust search and seizure, our right to grand jury, jeopardy, self-incrimination, due process, no unusual punishment, the ability to sue the United States, and the right to elect a president, just to name a few. Even though I can name all of these amendments that God gave us, not man, a certain governor thinks that she could just take them away. Today, I'm going to be talking about the governor of New Mexico. She just declared a national emergency, and because of it, she's taking away your right to carry a gun. Even though the people who follow the law don't commit crimes with their guns. I can say that this is 100% true 100% of the time, no matter what. Thus, her taking away the right for the people to bear arms only jeopardizes the people who follow the laws. This is a despicable thing, and she's trying to get away with it, but I will never let her get away with taking our rights away. If she really thinks guns don't prevent death, and thus protect people, then she should go 24 hours without security, and we will go back to her after those 24 hours is done if she's still alive. She knows guns prevent death, but she just wants to fit a certain political agenda. That's why she's going out of her way to trample on our rights as Americans, and it's despicable. But there's another side to the story. Now, let's just say hypothetically that the United States is being invaded, and the only way to stop the invasion was to call in the army. Seems like an easy thing to deal with, right? Call in the army, and that's it. No. What you don't realize is that it's American citizens invading the country, and they are trying to put some random guy in charge, whatever it takes. If you were the one in charge of the military, you would just call them in for backup to protect America. But looking at the Constitution, we have the right to go against the government. So is it right to forcefully take America to install a dictatorship? No, of course not. So in this case, you would be right. I'm not saying that the governor of New Mexico is, because even she said that she is wrong, and it will be struck down in courts. But truth be told, governors do have the power to temporarily take rights, unless we want to just let the Democrats take control of America without any pushback whatsoever. We can't just sit here and say, wah, 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 and let the governments use their power to push policies that they want. No, we need to do what they are doing. And once we are in charge, we need to make America a sane and normal place as it once was. Only after all of this is done, we say no more of this and repel the rights that governors have to do such things. That would make our norms the real norms of America, and at the same time force Democrats to use levers of power we have here in America. And then, just maybe, we can see them wow, wow, wow instead. With that being said, we're going to be digging into the headlines of the week.
Facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
With that being said, we're going to be digging into the first article, which actually is a New York Post article. Now, Biden insists that he's too busy to visit the site of an Ohio train derailment disaster despite record vacations. Now, this was actually published on September 3rd because he was actually asked, when are you going to visit East Palestine, Ohio? And he just declined to answer because he does not want to go. He would rather just sit on the beaches of Delaware and just sit there shirtless, ugly, and just not do anything because he doesn't want to do anything. He just wants to sit there. He's too old for this. He wants to take a nap. Just recently, he said that he was having a meeting with the powers that be and said that he didn't even know what was going on in the meeting. He said that you need to know what's going on in the meeting to meet with Joe Biden, but Joe Biden didn't even know what's going on in the meeting. And then he said that whatever happened during the meeting, the only thing that he knows is that he needs to go to bed, which is just stupid. Okay, are you the president or are you in preschool? Okay, that's not funny. It's not funny at all. So, moving with the article, President Biden claimed that he hasn't, quote, been able to break since promising he'd visit the site of a toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, months ago, despite recently taking a roughly 8-day vacation in Nevada. Biden was asked why he hasn't yet fulfilled his March commitment to visit the Ohio village at a press conference Saturday in live Oak, Florida. During his short trip to view Hurricane Idella, the hurricane's wreckage there. Quote, I haven't had the occasion to go to East Palestine, Ohio, Biden told reporters. Quote, there's a lot going on here, and I just haven't been able to break. His remarks came nearly after he had finished off his family getaway in Nevada in some 211 days since February 3rd derailment. The Post reported Saturday that Biden spent 40% or 382 of his first 957 days as president on personal overnight trips away from the White House, taking more downtime than any of his recent predecessors. Yes, because of the fact that he is the oldest man than his former predecessors. So he's sitting here on the beach, shirtless, ugly, sleepy. This is exactly why he coined the nickname from President Trump, Sleepy Joe, because he just sleeps on the job and he just wants to sit there. He wants to just vacation and he does not want to do any of the work because of the fact that he just wants to sleep. He's an old man, okay? I think we're forgetting something, okay? He's an old man, okay? He should not be there. Just like O'Connell, or not O'Connell, just like Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is sitting here pretending as if he's having a stroke so he doesn't have to answer questions. He needs to step down, okay? It's despicable. We need to get some people in charge that are less old, okay? 25% of the Senate is over the age of 80. That's disgusting. No, we need to have 0% of the Senate over 80. We need to have a less age in our government, because if we have an average less age, then we're going to have better policies that can be implemented to actually, save our rights. Just like Sweden. Sweden is primarily made up of younger people. With that being said, that's because of the fact that these people all agree at the same exact page, or for the most part, they agree, and they go based off of those lines. Not only that, but also they're younger, so they can actually stay focused longer, get more work done, and then they preserve the rights that their people have, because Sweden has one of the best policies when it came to COVID. They did not lock down, they did not have mask mandates, and they also have the best policies when it comes to protecting the privacy of their citizens. You can actually go and get Swedish versions of, let's just say that you want a data saver. Let's just say that you want to back up your photos to the cloud. You go and get a Swedish version of that, and they do not comply with any regulations or any investigations from America at all. They don't cooperate. Let's just say that you wanted to store, let's just say, a picture of you, and the government's like, oh, you were at this event at this time. We need that picture to prove that you were guilty. The Swedish government would not comply with that investigation whatsoever. So it's just crazy the amount of security that you have. So, I mean, that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, but the privacy of American citizens is always taking precedent over other things. That's what we need here in America. The privacy for our citizens to do what we want. Just like Liberty Safe. Liberty Safe just recently went into the Oath Keeper's house and helped the government through the back end open the Oath Keeper founder's safe so he can have self-incriminating evidence revealed to the courts. That's just despicable and it's disgusting. They came out and apologized and said, oh, if you want to remove your code. No, nobody trusts you anymore. Liberty Safe. Nobody trusts you. You're done for. Nobody's going to buy your safe anymore. Look at the people that are trying to buy a gun safe. It's people on the right. People on the right are not going to support companies that trample over our rights and just cooperate with the government's tyrannical assertion to arrest somebody that was not even there at the Capitol. and put them in jail for 22 years. Disgusting. But we do have another article. We have an article from the Washington Examiner. We have Biden calls for more censorship ahead of the 2024 election. Now, if you do remember what exactly happened in the 2020 election, I'll refresh your memory. They censored us to the oblivion, just for saying that there might be some things that are not making sense in this election here. Just because we pointed those facts out or those opinions out, and that at the time, just because we pointed that out, they started censoring, they started banning, they started restricting, they started regulating what we can say. It's absurd on its face. And they're starting to do it again. President Joe Biden wants to dictate censorship policies to social media companies because he and the Democratic Party still can't quit their desire to censor speech they don't like as disinformation. The latest instance of this comes regarding YouTube, which said that it will stop removing videos that contain, quote, content that advances false claims that widespread fraud, errors, or glitches occurred in the 2020 and other past United States presidential elections. Shouldn't we have the right to discuss past United States presidential elections, the bare minimum? If we can't talk about this election, we can't talk about past elections. So what are we going to talk about? The future elections? That doesn't make any sense. The company rationally noted that the policy was, quote, curtailing political speech without meaningfully reducing the risk of violence or other real-world harm. According to Biden's campaign, quote, YouTube's reckless and irresponsible decision to invite further democratic decay and potential violence, and we urged them to reconsider this policy. YouTube is going to get people killed. Oh my God. Oh, I can't. If they keep saying this, we're not going to be able to talk about anything here on YouTube. YouTube is going to get people killed. How? YouTube, sue him from defamation. That's just stupid. Biden outright said that social media companies were, quote, killing people for hosting COVID-19 misinformation. Of course, much of that COVID-19 misinformation turned out to be accurate. Most masks were, okay, so we can't talk about this here on YouTube already. Okay, YouTube's taking their policies already. Okay. The same is true for elections. Voter fraud does exist, though not on the scale that former President Donald Trump and other GOP losers claim. Similarly, false election claims exist on the opposite end of the political spectrum, with several Democrats claiming that Stacey Abrams had the 2018 Georgia gubernatorial election stolen from her. False Democratic claims about voter suppression also invite further democratic decay and potential violence, but Biden doesn't want those censored because he agrees with the people representing them. Exactly. On top of all of this, Biden funded the Global Disinformation Index that blacklisted conservative media, pressured social media outlets to censor information on Twitter, and attempted to form a disinformation governance board run by a liberal partisan who dismissed the New York Post's accurate reporting on Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation. He and his administration are openly hostile to free speech and routinely demand censorship as his political opponents under the guise of, quote, misinformation, a label that is never applied to Democrats. Biden no doubt thinks that his social media censorship of the New York Post ahead of the 2020 election helped him win. He wants to recreate that. His authoritarian impulse to promote censorship at every turn is yet again another piece of evidence that he is unfit to serve as president, and that everyone in his administration who is committed to, quote, the I can't talk today, to the, quote, disinformation and, quote, misinformation fight should be nowhere near any level of political power. And I completely agree. This is so well said because of the fact that this is going to be on the tombstone of conservatism. Okay. But the Democrats are doing it. Listen. Oh, wait, no. That's against the Constitution. Okay, those two things are going to be on the headstone of conservatism. Conservatism. Okay, we need to take what they're doing, replicate it, and then once they're whining about it, we say, well, actually, we don't like that either. We're doing it because you're doing it. If you don't like it, you stop it, we'll stop it, okay? Until you say that you're not going to do it anymore and you prove it by passing laws that restrict you from doing such things, then we're going to keep on doing it because of the fact that it works, okay? They know how to wield political power because of the fact that they've been doing it for the last couple of years to put policies that Americans do not agree with in front of our face and then laugh at us when we try to repel them. With that being said, we're going to be digging into the media's takes. Starting off, we actually have a CNN article. We have slain woman's sister, says Pennsylvania fugitive transformed from a kind neighbor into a jealous and threatening boyfriend. So what the heck's going on here? I have no idea. Before he brutally killed his ex-girlfriend in front of her children 2 years ago in Pennsylvania, he seemed like a positive match, a fellow Brazilian who was a good neighbor and kind. The slain woman's sister says, but Kennett, now the subject of a manhunt after he escaped from a Pennsylvania prison late last month, seemed to transform over time, eventually excluding jealousy and threatening Deborah Brandelow before her death. Her sister told CNN. Now the sister, Sarah Bandelow, who lived near both of them and is taking care of Deborah's two children and well as what? CNN, you're not making any sense with these sentences. Now the sister, Sarah Bandelow, who lived near both of them and is taking care of Deborah's two children and as well as her own daughter in Pennsylvania, is terrified about his escape and worried that he could come after her. And I would be too. Quote, I haven't slept for many days since his escape. I have been waking up with fright at night. I nap and wake up with fright. Sarah Bandelow told CNN in an interview translated from Portuguese to English. Kendall at 34 I don't know how to talk today. Kendall Collette, 34, who was convicted just last month of first-degree murder in Deborah Bandelow's 2021 killing, escaped from the Chester County Prison some 30 miles west of Philadelphia on August 31st, sparking a search involving hundreds of officers. Kendall Cart, who also is wanted in a 2017 homicide case in Brazil, is extremely dangerous and desperate not to get caught, authorities have said, and they've urged residents in areas near the prison to keep their doors locked, stay inside, and check the security systems. He changed from a nice neighbor to a jealous boyfriend, sister says. Deborah first met Kendall Kett because they were neighbors in Chester County, Sarah told CNN. He helped and was so kind to Deborah, she said. They dated for about a year and a half, according to Sarah. Quote, she said he was nice to her, he was nice to him, that he helped her, Deborah told CNN. He kept her company. She didn't feel alone anymore. He kept her company. She didn't feel alone anymore. He seemed normal, but he was always very silent, observant, and reserved, she added. He treated Deborah's two children well, but there wasn't much attachment to them. No love, no hug, nothing. Very cold, Sarah said. His behavior toward Deborah changed over time. Quote, she kept saying that he was extremely jealous, and when he drank, he became a different person, and that he kept going through her cell phone, Sarah said. Kendall would threaten Deborah, telling her he would, quote, do the worst to her if she ever cheated, Deborah said. Kendall killed Deborah, 33, in April 2021 by stabbing her 38 times in the front of seven, her then 7 and 4-year-old children. And the Chester County District Attorney's Office said she had filed a protection from abuse order against him the year prior, according to a probable cause affidavit. Just days after his conviction, Kendall was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. Good. Okay. So, I guess what would be the solution here? I guess that would be the best use case. I would say death penalty for him because 38 times in front of her 7 and 4-year-old children. That's just despicable. The children are going to be scarred for life. And there's no way that you can ever make the children better. So it's just crazy. This whole entire story is just crazy. I can't. He kind of looks like it too. I just can't. What if you have a girlfriend? You're jealous of your girlfriend. Do you want to look like her? Like what you can say, "Oh, you look so pretty." Like there's a way to handle that. This is not the way at all. It's just ridiculous. Insanely ridiculous. I just have no words. It's just despicable. It's just despicable. Moving on to the next article, we actually have another CNN article. We have this week's United States inflation data is very important. Here's why. Why? I mean, I could boil it down, okay? I'm a delivery driver. I drive a lot of miles on my car, and I get gas very frequently, okay? Gas prices are going up, and they're going up high. It's at 380 where I live. It's disgusting, okay? New York markets have uncertainty, and there's a lot of it this fall. The United Auto Workers Union may strike on Friday. The federal government is heading towards another potential shutdown in October. The government's not going to shut down, okay? They always say this. They're not going to shut down, okay? Where was I? Oh, yeah. Geopolitical tensions with China remain heightened, and oil prices could stay elevated through December. And there's a looming question about whether the Federal Reserve will hike interest rates again. All this uncertainty has led markets to lack conviction, flip-flopping as convicting narratives around inflation rates and Fed hikes prevail. But this week's readings, just a few days ahead of the Fed's September policy meeting, could give the markets direction. If investors like what they hear, it could bring some much-needed confidence to Wall Street. If they don't like the data, it might push stocks lower. What's happening? Economics expect annual inflation as measured by the Consumer Price Index due out on Wednesday to have reached 3.6 in August, up from 3.2% in July. A reading along those lines would be much lower than the CPI's June 2022 peak of 9.1, but still well above the Fed's 2% target rate, which is just the fact that we're even raising our year over year inflation is at 9% is just telling that yes, both parties spent way too much money. Republicans spent like crazy. Democrats spent like crazy, and nobody's stopping the spending. We need to spend less money in America because of the fact that we do not have money to pay for our bills. And with that being said, if we don't have money to pay for our bills, the government just cuts us a check and says, "Oh, pay for your bills with this money." What's that money coming from? The reserve? We don't have money in the reserve anymore. We have debt all throughout all of the countries in this world. Okay, we have $30 trillion of debt in America. $10 trillion is help from American citizens on credit cards. It's disgusting. We can't afford anything. Everything's too much money. Okay, and nothing's coming down. Nothing's coming down until they raise interest rates to the point that nobody can afford anything. And it's sad, but it's true. This is exactly what needs to be done, and it needs to be done quick. With that being said, we're going to be ending off this video here. Thank you all for watching this episode of the Demetrius Rougeau Show. If you did like it, like and subscribe down below because I do post new episodes of the show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.